The screech of tires shattered the calm. In a single instant, everything changed. A woman and her dog had just stepped off the sidewalk to cross the street. They'd done it 100 times before, but today, something went horribly wrong. A car came out of nowhere, too fast to stop. The dog turned his head. The woman screamed. Then the world went black. When the noise faded and the dust settled, the dog lay motionless in the middle of the road. His leg was twisted unnaturally. Blood stained his fur. His breaths were shallow, ragged. He couldn't move. He couldn't even cry. The woman, his owner, stood over him, frozen. For a moment, she looked like she might kneel beside him. But then slowly, she stepped back. She turned away, and she left. Just like that, she was gone. People gathered. Horns honked. A few stared in confusion. Others muttered things under their breath. But no one moved. No one helped. Except one. A young woman sitting in her car had watched the whole thing. She had seen the crash, seen the pain, and seen the abandonment. Without thinking, she flung her door open and ran toward the dog. He was barely conscious, his eyes glazed, his body limp. She knelt down beside him and whispered gently, as if he were her own. And then she did what no one else had done. She picked him up, carefully, tenderly, as if he mattered, because to her, he did. Everyone stared as she carried the broken dog back to her car, but she didn't notice. Her eyes were locked on him. She didn't care whose dog he had been. All she knew was that he wasn't going to be left behind again. The drive to the animal hospital felt endless. Every bump in the road made her flinch, terrified it would hurt him more. She kept one hand on the steering wheel and the other resting gently on his side, feeling his faint breathing, praying it wouldn't stop. When they arrived, the vet team rushed him into the back. She waited in silence, heart pounding, hands trembling. Minutes passed like hours. Then the door creaked open and a doctor stepped in. His voice was soft but firm. The dog's leg was shattered in multiple places. Even if they operated, he said, the chances of a full recovery were slim. Most likely, he would never walk again. She didn't speak. She just looked through the glass where he lay sedated, hooked up to machines, his body wrapped in gauze. And in that moment, something inside her shifted. She wasn't just going to rescue him. She was going to fight for him. She started asking questions, looking up specialists, calling different clinics. Days passed, and she visited him every morning, every night. She'd sit beside his cage and talk to him like he could understand every word. Maybe he could, because slowly, the way he looked at her began to change. There was recognition in his eyes, then warmth, and then something deeper, trust. One evening, after another long consultation, a younger vet pulled her aside. He told her about an experimental procedure, a custom-built robotic leg. It was high-tech, expensive, complicated, but it could work. She didn't hesitate. She sold things she loved. She used her savings. She didn't tell anyone because no one would have understood. But she didn't care. This wasn't just about saving a dog. It was about giving him back the life someone else had stolen from him. Weeks turned into months. The custom limb was built, fitted, adjusted. And through it all, he watched her, quietly, faithfully. Every time she stepped into the room, his tail thumped softly against the floor. He couldn't move much, but his eyes said everything. He knew. The day finally came. The vet crouched beside him, gently guiding the new leg into place. The woman stood in the corner, holding her breath. For a second, nothing happened. Then, he shifted. His paw touched the floor. He wobbled. And then, with a shaky step, he stood. She gasped. Tears welled in her eyes. He looked at her, standing on his new leg, uncertain but upright. It wasn't perfect, but it was hope. It was a bright morning when they returned to the place where it all began. Same street, same crosswalk, but everything had changed. He walked beside her now, steady on his new leg, tail wagging, head held high. Not limping, not broken, just proud. They paused at the edge of the road, and for a moment, he stared at the pavement where his life had fallen apart. Then, from across the street, someone called his name. She was there, the one who had left him. His old owner stood just a few feet away. Her voice was sweet now, her smile soft, as if nothing had happened. She opened her arms and called to him again, but he didn't move. He looked up at the woman beside him, the one who stayed, who fought, who believed. Then he took a slow step forward, toward her. The crowd watched in silence. And then he turned. He walked past the woman who once abandoned him, and instead stood firmly beside the one who gave him a second chance. He had already made his choice, because real love doesn't leave you behind, and loyalty remembers who held you when no one else would. They crossed the street together, side by side, like nothing and no one could ever come between them again. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to like this video. Subscribe for more stories of loyalty and healing, and share it with someone who believes in second chances. Your next story is waiting.